Put 193 countries, who all want something from each other, in one place, and you are bound to have some drinking. It can ease some tensions and perhaps lower barriers to agreement. In a rare rebuke to the world, a U.S. diplomat Monday in public scolded fellow diplomats for drinking on the job.
As for the conduct of negotiations, Mr. Chairman, we make the modest proposal that the negotiating rooms should in future be an inebriation-free zone.
There are stories told of delegates even bringing in liquor to closed-door negotiations on Christmas-time UN budget talks, which usually drag on way past midnight. The most famous UN drinking incident occurred more than 2 years ago overseas when a United Nations Chinese Undersecretary General for Economic Affairs went on a drunken rampage, telling his boss, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, "I know you never liked me, Mr. Secretary General. Well, I never liked you either." He later apologized. There are just a handful of establishments where diplomats can eat or drink, especially during years of renovation here at UN headquarters. So in those late-night negotiations, diplomats have had to look elsewhere for those special beverages.
In the past, the French have brought wine, the Canadians have brought Canadian whiskey, the Russians, and this is a sort of current practice, they kind of crack open a bottle of vodka. There's a sort of dispute as to whether they crack it open before the negotiations or whether they do it afterwards. But there's sort of tradition of drinking.
Several diplomats denied seeing excessive drinking on the grounds.
Of course, in diplomacy, there are a lot of receptions, there is a lot of dinners, there are a lot of lunches that take place, and people may have a drink on those occasions. But in my experience, drink has never come into the question of negotiations.
Behind the drinking is frustration that non-Western countries are not interested in reforming the organization at those late-night meetings.
Let's save the champagne for toasting the successful end of the session.
Richard Roth, CNN, United Nations.